Y'all, today we are going to watch whole story. 1 or 2 likes, and we can watch his story. So we're gonna probably do the closest one. So I'll do this one actually. You ready? Like I read
My best friend's brother stood alone on the deck of a yacht and offered me champagne. "Welcome aboard, my lady." I smiled awkwardly. "Where is everybody else?" "They're all waiting for us out at the island. I stayed back to give you a ride." I froze because I thought I was supposed to sail out with all the other girls. He put his hand out and I took it, stood up on deck, saw a huge spread of food and a stocked bar. "You remembered all of my favorites." "I remember everything you tell me." "That's weird because we've barely spoken in 5 years." "It's strange that Carly didn't text me to let me know. I told her that you were good with me taking you out to her birthday party. Trust me, my yacht's way nicer than the dingy ferry they were on." He smiled, stared at me for way too long, then sailed the yacht out.
I mean, that yacht is actually pretty looking good. That's me right there. I'm actually the boy in that video.
To the open ocean towards the party island. The sun was starting to set over the horizon when Adrian sat a little too close. "I want to share something deeply personal with you." I fidgeted with my phone. No cell service. The memory of my mother leaving me when I was 9 haunts me to this day. I'm terrified to ever feel that way again. I still can't watch anyone pack a suitcase without getting choked up. I took a gulp of champagne. He touched my bracelet. I'm really careful who I let in because I have a lot of women that want me, which makes me really picky. A true connection should feel organic and magical, kind of like what we could have.
That is true. Like me and Mr. Owen.
Stared ahead and stayed quiet, wishing the yacht could go faster. I was so relieved when we came up alongside the party island, but then he sped right past it. "Where are you going?" "Chill. The sun sets in 5 minutes and I know another spot to watch it from that will make your heart stop and your panties drop." He laughed. I turned cold. "Relax. It's just a joke." We sailed a few hundred yards away to another small deserted island and docked at an inlet with no lights. We stepped out onto the pink sand and he laid out a blanket with wine, strawberries, and chocolate. "This place is only for people who understand what real exclusivity means. Only the privileged elite get to experience this. I wanted to get this over with as soon as possible." "Wow, great sunset. You ready to go? You haven't even tried a strawberry." We watched the sun go down, and then he shifted closer to me on the blanket. I felt his thigh touch mine and he gently caressed my arm. "You good?" I moved away. "Yeah, I'm good." "Are you sure? Because just a few seconds ago, you were leaning up against me all flirty, and now you're being a little standoffish. I mean, I wouldn't have brought you somewhere this private if I wasn't picking up a very strong vibe that this was mutual. I don't know what gave you that idea, but I'm not interested in you like that." He stood up, aggressively wiped sand off of his pants, walked a few feet away, and turned his back to me. The silence stretched out, and I felt the air turn cold. You know what's genuinely frustrating?
I don't know why, but I have a strong feeling about this guy. I think he's gonna do something very bad to her.
Advertising. I didn't advertise anything. You loved the yacht. You loved the champagne and the chocolate and all the attention. You came out here acting all excited and happy, and then you give me some "I'm not interested" bullshit. Yeah, okay, let's just go.
Did it just swear? Whoa. I thought this was family friendly, kid.
"To your sister's party." I stood up, started walking back towards the yacht. He stepped directly into my path and got right in my face. When I looked into his eyes, I saw a very different person. Cold, calculated, and deliberate. I understood in that moment that everything on the yacht, the food, the questions, the crafted vulnerability, had all been manufactured. "We're not leaving just yet." I slowly backed away, then turned to run. He quickly closed the distance and tackled me face first into the sand. He straddled me, flipped me over to face him, and put his hands around my neck. I like it when they fight me. I kneed him as hard as I could between his legs, squirmed out from underneath him, and took off running. He clutched onto his groin and turned red. I looked back and saw him casually stand up. He started chasing me. "You're a lot safer with me right here than out there all alone, but don't take my word for it." I hit the tree line and kept going. There was still no reception on my phone, but I flipped on the flashlight and used it to navigate through the thick, dark brush. My dad's voice popped in my head. "The terrain is always on your side if you know how to use it." My dad had taken me camping every summer since I was a little girl. Not glamping, real camping. How to read the ground, how to move without sound, how to make yourself invisible in an environment that wasn't built for comfort. I hadn't thought about any of that in years, but it was quickly coming back to me. I made it to the rocky shoreline on the far side of the island, where the ground broke up into a field of uneven coastal rocks sitting over shallow water. I slowed down and started stepping across them, one at a time, testing each one for stability. He came up behind me near the tree line, saw me, and sped up. My dad's voice rang out again. Predators hate uncertainty. I hopped from rock to rock, luring him to follow me. He smiled as if he was enjoying the hunt, and stepped onto the jagged rocks. He was getting cocky. Then his foot slid into a gap, dragged across a ridge of sharp surface coral on the way down, sliced open his thigh, and crashed into the water. He lost his arrogant smile and clutched onto the wound. I made it to the sand on the other side of the rocks and looked back. He was struggling to pull himself out of the water and was clutching onto his leg. That's a pretty nasty cut. Hope it doesn't get infected. You think this is a game? I will find you.
That's kind of funny, not gonna lie.
And when I do, you'll beg me to stop. I kept running. About 30 seconds later, my vision blurred. My legs went wobbly beneath me, and I stumbled down to one knee. The trees were pulsing at the edges. I steadied myself. Shit, he drugged the champagne. I knew it looked...
Is that another fucking swear word? I thought this channel was supposed to be family friendly.
a little too thick and cloudy. I had no choice but to hide and wait it out. I stumbled towards a fallen tree in a dense patch of brush and dug into the dirt underneath it. I clawed my fingernails deep into the mud, made a hole just big enough to barely fit in, and completely covered myself. I placed some dry leaves on top and closed my eyes. Stay awake. Stay alert. I fought as hard as I could, but I passed out. The next however many hours were surreal fragments. Branches turning into colors, sounds coming from way too many directions. I had no idea how much time had passed when I was abruptly awoken by the sound of footsteps crunching down on leaves. I looked up and saw him, standing a few feet away. I sucked in a long, deep breath and closed my eyes. God, help me out on this one, will ya? Then he shifted over to where I was and was faced me. I struggled to stay as still as possible as the sound of his footsteps got closer and closer. Then I felt a sharp pain on my forearm. I opened up one eye and saw him standing right on top of me. I'm busted. I heard him breathing above me, heavy and labored from his wound. I felt drops of the warm blood from his leg trickle down onto my cheek. It took everything in me to hold every muscle still and not breathe. He stepped forward, and his full weight came down on my stomach. The pain shot up, and I gritted my teeth so hard I thought they'd crack. He stood there for a long moment, then he moved on. I didn't exhale for another 10 seconds, just in case he was still close. When I felt like I was in the clear, the drug had thinned out just enough for me to be able to walk. I stood up, took 2 steps, and was still really woozy. I spent the next hour and a half circling back toward the inlet, moving slowly through the trees. I must have gotten lost because I came up to a small wooden shed and froze. Is he in there? The door to the shed swung open and I lunged back. A squirrel shuffled out. He wasn't inside, so I stepped in and saw a stranger's fishing equipment, spotted a small knife and pocketed it. I made my way back to the yacht, checking every shadow from behind trees.
You saw that pocketive? It's right on your back, buddy.
The yacht was still there. He wasn't, or at least I couldn't see him. I boarded carefully, searched every room and found nothing. Then I stood at the controls and stared at a dashboard that meant absolutely nothing to me. I started pressing buttons. Some of them did things I didn't understand. Some of them did nothing. One of them, eventually, started the engine. I managed to pull away from the dock with no idea what I was doing and didn't care. I got 100 yards out onto open water and let myself cry for about 4 seconds. Then I heard him screaming out from the shore and saw him sprint across the beach, dive into the water at full speed, and start swimming directly for me. I pressed several other buttons, desperately trying to go faster, but it did the opposite and killed the engine. I pressed the start button in a panic, but it wasn't turning on. By the time the engine finally kicked in, he was already climbing up the yacht. I kicked at his hands, but that didn't slow him down. He was coming up, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I sprinted into the main cabin, and as I turned a corner...
You forgot you had the knife on you, buddy.
My ankle caught on the edge of the door frame and sent me crashing down. I grimaced in agony and saw that my ankle was facing the wrong direction. I crawled back up, hopped on one leg. My ankle burned, but I could still move it, so it was most likely sprained and not broken. I locked the door, pulled open every drawer I could find, and saw a flare gun, toolkit, and a marine radio. I loaded the flare gun and pressed my back against the wall. He slammed his shoulder into the door and tried to bash it open. You don't get to reject me. Do you understand that? You are a fucking commoner. You don't get to decide anything.
Yo! Did you guys just hear that?
Here. What the hell is wrong with you? Just wait until your sister finds out what you've done. She'll murder you herself. She won't do shit, and it'll be your story.
Okay, you know what? I will fuck you up, guys.
Against mine. Guess who they'll believe? Definitely not the dumb girl from a poor neighborhood. If you bust through that door, I will shoot you in the face, you sick perv. Just try me. He laughed, then slammed his fist through the flimsy wooden door. I saw his face pop through and I fired through the hole. There was a short yelp, then an eerie silence. Smoke drifted through the opening and I stood there trembling. I reloaded the flare gun and listened for any sound or movement. I carefully made my way toward the door to check. Each step felt like a lifetime and pain kept shooting up my leg. I made it close to the door, then a hand reached through the hole, grabbed my collar and slammed the side of my face into the door frame. I saw stars and dropped the flare gun. His hand reached in to open the door from the inside, so I bit a chunk out of it and tasted blood. He backed away from the door, got a running start, bashed his body through the door and slammed into me, sending me to the floor. He picked up the flare gun, got on top of me, pressed the barrel down into my forehead, and pushed in the barrel until I felt my own skin split. Do you know what this would do to your pretty little face? Your pretty, calculated, manipulative little face. That's what you used on me. You all do it the same way. You make us feel seen, you make us feel chosen, and then you rip it all away. I stayed quiet, as different ideas of attacking him rolled through my mind like thunder. My mother used to do it to me. Out in public, she'd act warm and interested and attentive. Then at home, I didn't exist. I'd do anything to get her attention, and she would look at me like I was a piece of furniture. And then, of course, the bitch left. You study what a man needs, and you use it against.
Did I just hear another B-word? Whoever said bitch is now a retard, bro.
I saw my chance, and I drove my thumb as deeply into his eye socket as I could. He screamed and moved back as I swatted the flare gun sideways and scrambled out from underneath him. I hobbled out through the destroyed doorway and out onto the deck. My ankle was throbbing, but I ignored it. I thought about diving into the water and swimming to the island where Carly was probably getting drunk and wondering where the hell I was. Then I noticed a light flashing across the water, a Coast Guard boat moving towards us. I screamed, waved both arms. Help me! The Coast Guard boat started heading towards me, thank God. Then I felt a hard thud slam into the back of my head and the lights went out. I woke up inside the bathroom with a gag in my mouth and a rope around my wrists and ankles that were tied to the handle of the cabinet. I desperately tried to make any sound I could, but I was completely stuck. I heard the Coast Guard pull up alongside the yacht and could hear the entire conversation. Everything all right out here? I noticed you've been drifting. Yeah, we're totally fine. He put on his fake, charming voice like he usually does when he speaks to someone that has authority. Just sleeping. We're heading out soon. We? There was a half-second pause. Me and my baby here, the Mary Mayflower. I always call her we. Old habit. I threw myself into the bathroom door with my knees and my forehead. I made every sound I could make through the gag. Low, guttural, and desperate. What's that sound? What sound? That weird banging sound. I banged into the wall even harder, scraping up my knees. It's the engine. I just got a new raw water repeller, but I don't think she's the right fit. Your leg looks bad. What happened? I'm such a dumbass. I scraped the hell out of it.
Two swear words in less than a minute. What the fuck?
Diving. I'm fine, honest. You have a good night. I heard footsteps approaching, and the Coast Guard's engine started up and moved away. Adrian swung open the bathroom door. Close one. Now, where were we? He dragged me back into the main room of the cabin and sat me down against the wall. I saw him wince, look down at his leg, and his face went several shades whiter than it had been. He started blinking slowly as his head started drooping down from blood loss. Feeling a little woozy? Shut your mouth. You've lost a lot of blood. My mom was a nurse. I know what the beginning of sepsis looks like, and you probably have 2 minutes before you pass out. He glared at me with pure contempt, but underneath it was something else. Doubt. You need to clean that wound. Pour alcohol on it and then drink a good amount of it. Seriously, alcohol kills the infection from the inside. My mom taught me that. If you don't, you'll go into septic shock. Up to you. None of that's medically accurate. Drinking alcohol thins your blood. If he was already bleeding out, more alcohol would only accelerate everything. He knew I might be lying, but he was scared, and he was fading fast, and didn't know enough to be sure. He grabbed the vodka bottle and poured some over the wound, howling at the sting of it. When I fix myself up, you and I are going to have a lot of fun. Then he tilted the bottle back and took a long, hard swig. His eyes went glassy. I smiled. You're a fool, and your whole family will know the truth about you. I don't care how wealthy your father is. No one will save you. He opened his mouth to speak, and nothing came out. His head went forward, and he hit the floor face first, and didn't move. I still had the small knife from the shed and struggled to get it out of my pocket. I loosened the ropes just enough to grab it and spent 2 full minutes sawing at the rope. He moved. I froze. Then I started sawing faster. He moved again. I cut through the rope and got loose. I used the same rope to tie him to the bedpost. Double knotted, checked it twice, grabbed the flare gun, and walked out onto the deck. I shot up into the night sky with pure relief. The sky lit up red as tears ran down my face, and for the first time in hours, I finally let myself feel how terrified I had been. The Coast Guard boat came back in under 5 minutes. He pulled alongside the yacht, saw me standing on the deck, muddy, bruised and bloodied and holding a spent flare gun. Jesus. Are you alright? I am now. He's inside, tied up. You're
They both just say Jesus. I think that's a bad wording.
going to want to call the police. He spoke into his radio, then stepped onto the yacht, put a blanket over my shoulders, and handed me hot cocoa. I stepped onto his boat and sat down and trembled for several minutes. The police and the medics came. They went aboard and returned with Adrian, who had regained consciousness and had been handcuffed. This girl attacked me. I'm the one who needs medical attention. Are you listening to me? The cops ignored his bullshit, put him onto their boat, and drove away.
Oh, you know what? I would never watch this again if they say one more bad word.
We came into the mainland dock as the sun was starting to rise. Adrian's father and my best friend Carly were already there. She was wearing her birthday outfit and looked terrified. The cop pulled his father and Carly aside and talked to them quietly for a few minutes. I watched both of their faces. Their father didn't flinch or argue or shake his head. He just listened and then nodded once, slowly. It was the nod of a man receiving confirmation of something he'd long feared. His father walked over to me, looked at my bruised face, the dried mud still in my hair, and the cut on my temple. I am deeply, profoundly sorry for what my son did to you. I've spent years trying to get him help. I've tried everything and nothing has worked. His voice broke slightly. Please press charges to the fullest extent of the law. Carly started crying and hugged me. Adrian started squirming. Dad? Dad? Why did you tell her that? You can't let them take me. I won't survive behind bars. Please. His father walked away. Adrian got shoved into the back of the police car, and that's when I felt gratitude for my father and what he taught me about survival. During the court case, it came out that men like him chose women like me because I was self-sufficient, the type who would take time to trust him, which made earning that trust feel like a conquest. Adrian had spent his entire adult life on a continuous loop of chasing the love he wanted from his mother that he never got. I'll tell you what he did get, though. 20 years. My best friend's brother stood...
20 years is kind of... I'm happy. But I'll see you on the next one. I think I'll post 2 more videos and that's it, okay? After this one, I'll post 2 more videos and that's it. And then I'll be posting more tomorrow, guys. See ya. Bye.